Okay, first things first, complaints were met for my specific thing. What did I say? Eye level shit. I didn't like all this stuff being filmed from the eye level. It didn't feel dynamic, stylized. Look, lo and behold, look at how this baby starts. Bird's eye view coming down. Hell yeah. Complaints are being met from the perp. So already I gotta give it off to them. If I complained about it, if that was my critique, I'm gonna give it to them. Oh yeah, look at this shit. Okay, now granted, a lot of this stuff is fucking, it's kind of the standard. It's like when you're opening a scene or you're opening a new environment, you know, you do this kind of sweeping shot, like to show it in a wide angle lens and shit, and just, you know, showing the environment. It's kind of a standard. It's kind of done again several times in this. Again, I evoke the name of Degrassi, who brought to my attention that the showrunner, the creator, she had the cast and crew read Fight Club. Right? Now, if you've read Fight Club, you would know that they changed the story. Edward Norton's character meets Tyler Durden in a plane in the movie. In the book, it's different. Okay? In the book, he meets him at a like some club resort, beach resort, where Tyler is creating what he called the world's most perfect hand, so he could sit on it naked. Very Tyler Durden, right? So I was like, is this a hit? Oh, is this a shout out to the Fight Club book? This specific shit is blending horror or using horror tools with Star Wars. How's it doing that? Okay, from the get. One of the things I loved about Star Wars, it's sort of the background storytelling, right? That's the shit that people really responded to. It feels lived in that Star Wars sense of lived in and mystery. And like, what is the Clone Wars when Obi-Wan first talks about, like, what are these things being referenced? I feel this does that in a horror-esque way. What do I mean by that? I mean, I absolutely loved the choice of, she wasn't waking up with the rest of the Jedi. This civilian, okay, once again, this civilian that's marked in this, I think it's said in this episode as well. They call her civilian, right? They weren't all waking up and then, okay, time to fight. And like the fucking bad guy standing there. Who knows technically how this shit started? Technically, after those fucking Jedi got up. That's fucking Star Wars. That little bit of like, okay, what happened? Okay, that's cool. And then they're blending that Star Wars. They're like blending this horror and Star Wars shit together, right? So it goes into this shot. And you see these fucking lights and Jedi, and it's like, oh, fuck yes. I love this choice. Brilliant transition. Okay, so in many ways, this is like fucking Friday the 13th, okay? If you've seen like Friday the 13th, like when the girl's under the dock and she could just see Jason through the edges, or if Final Girl's in the closet and the doors slightly creeped open so you could just see a sliver of like the half of the mask or just something like that, like obstruction in the way of the horror. It gets you immersed with the character. I think it's a beautiful blend of action and using, once again, what I said, using the tools of horror. I think this was a perfect scene of like, okay, there's obviously going to be awesome action choreography, but look at how it's being filmed with these trees in the fucking way. Because it's from her perspective. We're being immersed. It's just such a brilliant way of getting you in there, right? Getting you in there and starting it off where you're going to be getting hints of what the Sith could do. If you watch the Friday the 13th remake, there's a part where in the beginning gets caught up in a bear trap. And then Jason runs and takes that guy out. And it's very similar to this scene. The Your Jason kill. I'm sorry, I thought of Jason the minute I saw this shit. Once again, there was a lot of connections to Friday the 13th. The Jedi are the counselors, all right? And this fucking badass Sith dude is Jason. Now, where I say there's extra care is that they had, okay, and this is where sort of my experience comes into play. Sorry, I have to do it. But they had a fight scene start off here, couple moves. Now, what ends up happening is that this fight scene is then moved over to another set, right? So it's like normally, and this is a TV show. And normally what ends up happening, if you're going to intercut or whatever, you keep it more or less in the same area, right? You keep it in the same area, you could intercut, right? They even do this in some movies where it's like, okay, this person's fighting over here, this person's fighting over here. They have to do already a balancing act because they're putting characters all over the place, right? And you have to keep track of them, and they do a good job of doing that. So on top of that, they have to, on top of doing what's called like the setup, right? On top of doing a setup in this sound part of the sound stage and doing a fight here, when they already have to think about the choreography, geography of all these people, they actually move this fucking fight. And you're going to say they do that all the time. It's like, yeah, no shit. For final fights and all this shit, they do this shit all the time. All the time. Not in TV and not when it's like, these are two, this isn't like the main meal of this whole action scene at all. This is just sort of a side B story, right? This is just something that they would normally, in another TV show, they just film here and they'll intercut it, but they'll keep it around here. They'll keep it interesting. They'll still be creative. But the fact that they actually put these girls over here into this other set to continue the fight, so that means they actually have to move the production setup, the whole cameras, lighting, all that shit. Keep in mind all the fight, all the emotions, all that shit, and move it over here to finish, probably in another day, finish the shoot another fucking day for sure, right? It was definitely not that day. They got to move to this other part of the set, right? They got to do that. And you're going to tell me that this is lazy Disney, like Disney lazy. They had no right to do this. And they did. This is the extra sauce because they care. Okay? Because they care about giving you an exciting ass fucking sequence. And it's more than just, oh, they're going to fight over there and then we'll cut to them running in the woods. They actually give you this. And people are ungrateful. And how dare thee, I say. What I loved about this was the amount of like variety, I guess. There was just a variety of shit going on, a variety of tools being expelled.